And hello, this is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor and I'm recuperating. I tell you, I have a dog called Skippy, and he's been with me for a long time. And he's getting older, and he's moving slowly, and he acts like an old dog. But he still has this thing about trying to escape. Now, in the back, it's all gated. But for some reason, I don't know how he gets out, but he gets out. And he wanders down the street. Now, he's done this twice in 1 week. And yesterday, I was working at my desk because he normally sits with me in my office and works with me. But he decided to escape. And I got up and I started looking, and I walked the neighborhood, and I drove around the neighborhood, and I went even further than the neighborhood. And then finally I said, okay, Lord, you gotta help me find this dog again. I need your help. So I started walking down the street with his leash, and all of a sudden I saw him way 2 blocks down the street. So I began to run because my dog is deaf. I mean, he can't hear me at all. He can hear my claps, but he cannot hear my voice. He can't hear my voice. So anyway, I went running. Well, if you know LA, there's not a single sidewalk that is even. And I tripped. I hit something with my left foot, and I went flying. And I landed on the left side of my body and really bruised the ribs that are on my left side, and I tell you, it is painful. So I sat down today and began to work because I've got about 4 corporations that I'm working on at the moment that I have to prepare the financials for and then prepare the tax return. But I couldn't sit there. I just couldn't. My side hurt so badly. So I said, okay, I will rest for a little bit because obviously the body needs to recuperate. So I'm sitting here, well, not sitting, I'm laying here on my bed, and I'm in pain. I am in a lot of pain, but you know what? I'll make it through it. I've made it through this before. When I moved to California a month ago, I tell you, I thought, am I even going to make it here? Because when I was loading up the trailer hitch of my car to pull behind the trailer, I tripped over the tongue of the trailer, and I literally scraped it on something that put a deep tear in my skin that was about 1 foot long. Now, I didn't know it until I sat down that night and said, well, gosh, why is my leg hurting? And I looked at it, and it was bad. And that did not heal for a long time. And then I was at a friend's house, and in January, I was at a friend's house, and we were moving a washing machine that they had purchased, and it was coming out of the truck. Of course, I was leading it out of the truck, and it decided to go off on its own because it was on a hill, and I had no one to help me. Well, anyway, I held on. I held onto the machine that moves the thing, and I went flying over the washing machine, landed on my left side again, and bruised the whole left side of my body. And then Skippy's accident yesterday. I tell you, I'm beginning to wonder if I'm going to make it here in California because one fiasco after another keeps happening. So today's going to be a day of rest. I just got to get it. You know, we're talking about the $20 minimum wage increase that goes into effect for restaurants tomorrow, especially fast food restaurants. Well, one restaurant, Panera Bread, got exempted from that. And the way they got exempted, because the law reads that if you have a bakery, you get exempted. So you don't have to pay that $20 an hour. Now, I don't know how Panera Bread got that into the legislation. I don't know how that was even put into the legislation. But it would be interesting to know exactly what caused that to exempt restaurants that have bakeries in them from the $20 an hour. It's amazing to me how these people in Sacramento, especially Sacramento, well, I even have questions about the mentality of people in Congress and the Senate, but in Sacramento, I literally wonder what goes through their mind when they're putting these deals together and who they can get a little bit of help, maybe campaign time from some of these companies. If they disqualify them or exempt them from certain laws. So we have to watch what's going on in Sacramento, in our state legislatures, and in our federal legislators. We've got to watch them very carefully because they are tricky when they put these laws together. I'll give you a good example. I've used this before, but several years ago, there's a transportation bill that went into the Congress and the Senate, and it was passed. But no one knew there was language in there that said if you own a bank account of $10,000 or more at any time during the year, you have to report that not only to the Internal Revenue Service, but you have to report that to the Treasury Department. If you don't report it to the Treasury Department, then it could be a criminal action. Now, when they say $10,000, that means if you're a signer on the bank account, let's say your mom and dad have a bank account in the Philippines, let's say, and you're on that signatory, you're on that bank account, you have to report that as foreign income. Even though it's not your bank account, but you're the signer on it, and you've got... So that was in that transportation bill. So why would that be in the transportation bill? It doesn't make any sense, but it was there, and it got passed. And then the IRS took months and months. They put everything to the side so that they could go after all of these individuals that have these foreign bank accounts or signers on bank accounts. So you have to watch legislators very carefully, and you have to come down on them and say, no, we don't accept that. We just don't accept it. I'll tell you a good story, this isn't about taxation now, but it's about Wendy's, okay? Wendy's came out yesterday and said, we are going to have a pricing surge on certain times of the day, which means, let's say, if it's a high peak time, morning when they're serving breakfast, lunchtime when they're serving lunch, and dinner at the dinner time, they can immediately boost their prices. They can surge their prices during those high peak hours. That did not go too well. Consumers were pissed off, and they had to back down. Wendy's had to back down. So if you think that your voice does not count, it does. And you've got to use it more. Because consumers have a voice, and if you look at the pricing, food pricing, the food companies or the grocery stores out there are listening to you. So you've got to tell them that you're not happy. Ouch, that hurt. Consumers have a voice. Taxpayers have a voice, and you got to let it known. Just don't sit there and go with the flow. If you don't like it, say something about it, and you can get things changed. So that's my podcast today. I tell you, it's very painful sitting here even doing this podcast, because every time you take a breath in, the ribs hurt. But that's life. I'm not going to complain. And I'm alive, I'm healthy, and I'm still working. And I got to get back to my desk, but I'm not going to take a break just for a little bit today, because I think the body needs to rest. Listen, if you have any questions, go ahead and send it to me to thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any question you may have. Talk with you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.